Joining us to weigh in, former senior advisor to DHS under Alejandro Mayorkas and Maryland congressional candidate Berney Flowers, along with former senior advisor to the Department of Homeland Security, former Secret Service agent and Newsmax contributor Charles Marino. Gentlemen, welcome. Chuck, I'm going to start with you here. I first want to start by bringing up that video that John Glasgow showed us of the Nick Sorter video of showing anti-ICE protesters trying to tie rope to a weapons locker in a federal vehicle and ripping it out. I mean, this to me has gotten so completely out of control. And the fact that you see Governor Walz and Mayor Fry actually encouraging people to go out there. Sure, they say to engage in peaceful protests, but there seems to be a subtext there that people are heeding. Your reaction?
Well, there is. And the big question is, why would those two cowards, Governor Walz and Mayor Fry, encourage this type of violence against ICE agents? And there's two reasons why. One, obviously, they want to obstruct to prevent ICE from conducting their mission. And then the second thing is, by creating impossible conditions like we see on the TV, you put ICE agents and CBP agents in tough positions to make tough calls, including potentially using deadly force. And what does that allow? It allows these politicians to attempt to villainize law enforcement. Look, they've created dangerous situations on the ground for these law enforcement officers. I firmly believe it's time for the Insurrection Act. When you see federal vehicles being broken into, and these protesters coming away from those vehicles with submachine guns and firearms and other types of weapons, it's time to send in the military.
Yeah, realistically, Colonel, you hear from Tim Walz, Fry, and Ilhan Omar, I'll throw her in too, calling for people to go out and protest at night. We've seen this playbook before. We've seen this movie. You go out at night and you do stuff like this under the cover of darkness. They're all masked up and you've got no idea who these people are. If you don't use the Insurrection Act now, if so, when? And if you don't soon, you know, what happens next? Maybe they use those guns they just got.
The president is within his rights to institute the Insurrection Act, in my opinion, right now. The bottom line is these people have weapons. His job is to protect the American people. There's a lot of, quiet folks that are living in that area that are afraid. And that's why we have these laws on the books. And I encourage the president to go ahead and federalize the Guard, federalize the military, get this thing locked down before more people die.
Chuck, do you think by instituting the Insurrection Act that could make things worse? I just see that these people who are already so angry and so anti-government, anti-Trump, it almost seems like all they need is one more push to make them even more out of control.
Well, I think with overwhelming force, you may see an instance where it flashes up initially, but ultimately, by invoking the Insurrection Act, you will give the law enforcement officers the additional resources that they need to be able to continue to do their jobs. And along with the Insurrection Act and the use of active military resources, you're also going to be able to implement things like curfews, where anybody that's out on the streets can immediately be taken into custody. But I agree, it's time for the Insurrection Act. Enough is enough. And these politicians are going to find that they're going to be on the wrong side of this. And the Department of Justice really should be exploring these obstruction charges against Governor Walz and Mayor Fry.
I was just going to say real quick, something that just concerns me. We're out of time here, but I just kind of want to get your thoughts. Okay, so the Insurrection Act, it's enacted, and then you have all the Democrats who are eyeing the midterm elections saying, well, look at this dictator. He's putting our country under martial law. And it just seems like a snowball of rhetoric, and then it's hard to think, is that intentional? I don't know the answer. That's
I'm kind of with you, not that you want to see this happen, but things get even worse if he declares that. They just use it as more ammo. And Democrats never bring up the fact that criminal illegal aliens are being arrested, gang members, rapists, pedophiles, the list goes on and on. They never talk about that part of it, though. Colonel Flowers, Charles, got to leave it there. Appreciate you both.